Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open House Live. I am super excited to be here today with Brandi from Eternal Harvest Decor on Instagram, coming to you live from Utah, Saratoga Springs, Utah Valley. Anyways, really happy to be chatting with you today, Brandi, and going to be able to check out your home on Open House. So thanks for hopping on.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
So Brandi is a professional at DIY, at woodworking. She's just like done tons of cool projects. If you look at her Instagram and her website, Brandi, I'd love for you to just give us like a little bit background into like what you do and also how you kind of got to the point that you are now. Like, what's the background story?
So my background story is a little bit different. I'm actually a mental health professional by trade, and I was practicing and working with a bunch of clients about 7 years ago and decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So that was kind of a huge decision for me, and I referred all of my clients whom I loved, and it was really difficult to do, and came home to be at home with our 3 kids and homeschool our 3 kids. And while I was here devoting my time to them, it became very apparent very quickly that I needed something for me. So it was like my own. And also, we had lost my income. So buying like decor items or fixing up our space was kind of out of the question because we were a one income family, and that made things a little more tight. So I started looking at things online and finding old plans. And at the time, this was 7 years ago. So I feel like at the time, there was like nothing out there. The only YouTube videos out there were guys in their garages talking about how to build a table, and the audio was weird and it was hard to figure out. And anyway, so I started making videos as I was learning the process of building my own furniture or upgrading our home or our space, and it kind of took off. And so here I am with a second business while I'm at home, which my husband teases me about. I'm so glad you quit your job so you could come home and start a business. That wasn't the intended thing, but that's what it is. And I found another passion, and I really love it. So
That is so awesome. I didn't know that little tidbit of your story. That is really cool, and I'm sure, yeah. So it sounds like it came basically out of like necessity. Like you used the opportunity to save money on decor and these items by learning to make it yourself. And turns out people also wanted to learn how to make it themselves too through your content.
yeah. Yeah. And there are a ton of women out there who are now starting to learn and wanting to learn how to build their own stuff and not have to rely on someone else. So it's really awesome and it's freeing and kind of empowering. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's super awesome. One thing that I noticed too from kind of scrolling through your blog and stuff was you're not just like doing small, like little DIY tricks. Like you're talking about like full on, like how to build your own furniture. I think one article I saw was like how to build your own bench. It wasn't like, here's a DIY hack. It was like DIY, like be a woodworker. Tell us a little bit more kind of like, what are like the type of projects and stuff that like you enjoy talking about? Like, it's kind of a vague question, but like, what are a couple of your favorite projects that you've done furniture wise?
That's such a funny question. I actually get that question a lot, and it is so hard for me to choose because I don't know. I usually tell people my favorite project is the one I'm working on right now because that's the one my brain is like fully focused on at the moment. But it is big projects and small projects. I mean, we needed a new table when I first started things. We needed an entry table, and the only way to afford something like that was to make it myself. So I started learning woodworking early on, and it turned into really big projects. But I know that not everybody's into woodworking, and there's times like last year when lumber prices skyrocketed and building out of lumber was like a no-go. So I started doing hacks and ways to take, used furniture or reclaimed furniture and turn that into something, or IKEA hacks and turn that into something that looked a little more, personalized and built in. So I don't know. I try everything, I guess, whenever I can.
That's so awesome. Did you have like before you made the jump to leave your mental health career, come stay at home and focus on raising, the family, did you have like interest in woodworking before? Like, did you have a background? Like, was it a hobby at all, or was it totally just like picked up from the point you got, out of that career path?
So I had done some small things up into that, like learned how to fix a toilet and things like that, like moving up. My dad, actually, my stepdad growing up, was not a handyman. He didn't know how to do anything. In fact, if he ever picked up a tool, he made it worse. So a lot of times my mom was like, this is broken. Let's hurry and fix it before your dad gets home and tries to fix it, and then we're in trouble. So I had little bits of experience, but I didn't have any tools. I think I had a drill and like a handsaw, and that was it. And so at the time I started, collecting tools for each project because tools are expensive, and I'd have to kind of upgrade with every project that I did and use the excuse that I needed it for whatever I was doing, and slowly built up that end of things. But no, I gained experience solely from doing, and lots of mistakes. So
That is so awesome. Lots and lots of trial and error.
yeah, lots.
Well, props to you for your persistence. I feel like, to me, like, I don't love things that I'm not good at quickly, and so I have a certain tolerance for like how much I can try something and stick with it. And anyway, props to you for just, I think that's also speaks to like you doing it out of the necessity of like needing to save money, needing to like um, be creative. And when your back's kind of against the wall, I guess, not in like such a serious way, but like when your back's against the wall and you're like, no, I have to learn how to do this in order to achieve the result I want. Um, it gives you, I guess, a little bit more persistence and stamina. So I just can't believe,
It's a
7 years
good
ago, you
motivator.
decided, yeah, I can't believe like 7 years ago you decided to make this jump, and the stuff that you're making and the projects that you're doing are really, really cool. Like I would have guessed that you had a background in woodworking before you made the jump into it. So
Oh,
congrats
that's
to you
nice
on
of
that.
you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So
No.
you bet. I mean it for sure. I can't wait. We're going to get into your house in just a second. There's a couple specific projects I wanted to ask you about. But before we do, I wanted to ask you, some of the people that listen to our content work within brands and they work within marketing. I'd love for you to, maybe, do you have a brand or two that you've worked with through your content that you really enjoyed working with? And what was it about your relationship with them that you appreciated that maybe someone in a marketing position can kind of learn from when working with content creators?
That's a really great question. What a nice question, too. So I've worked with a lot of brands. I've worked with both tool brands and home decor brands, and there's been ups and downs, that's for sure, with different brands. But the one, like, I work with Spider pretty regularly, and they are a tool brand. They make blades for all different kinds of saws and things like that, and bits. And they have been really great because they let me use my authentic voice. And authenticity to me is very, very important. And they're also okay with me trying things out before I talk about them, before I go out there and push a product. I need to know that it's something I'm really going to like and that my audience is really going to like. I don't just sign up with any brand, So being able to do that. And then I work with boutique rugs. They are fantastic. And again, they're really great with saying, you have full creative freedom. We trust you. Make what you can, and then we'll check it over and you can go ahead and post it anytime. So being able to use my authentic voice and be me is really the best thing a brand can do.
Huh, that's awesome. And I think I've said this a couple times before, but I think that's so important because you obviously have built an audience for a reason. Like, they follow you because they love your personality, they trust your recommendations and what you're teaching them. And so brands do themselves a disservice by trying to dictate every detail and take over that voice.
Yeah, and I understand why they do that. It's probably a really scary leap for them to try and make and trust someone to make content. But yeah, my followers and people that trust me, that's really important to me. And the things that I recommend, I have a YouTube following too, and I'm not just going to throw things out there and hope it sticks. I want them to know if I tried it, it works. Because I've been on the other end trying to learn something, and I think that's probably why I need to know it's actually going to work, and I want to give them real information, So anyway.
Definitely. Well, that is great advice. Well, let's jump into your house. I guess before we kind of walk around too much, tell us a little bit about the background of your home. How long have you lived here? Was it a new build, a renovation? Yeah, just give us kind of the background of where you guys are living right now.
So we have been here almost a year. So this is a new build. We built this home last year right before the pandemic hit. We kind of signed the papers and started the process. It was kind of a scary thing to do right before everything got crazy in the world. But we bought the home hoping to, it's not necessarily a bigger home, but it's rearranged in a way that would be better for our family. And it also had a bigger garage. And if you know me, you know that the shop space is very important to me. So that was a huge selling point for me to have a bigger shop so that I could build some things for our home and this new space. So we're coming up on a year. I think it'll be a year next month.
That is awesome. And I was going to ask you, what is kind of your shop situation? You have your own woodworking shop. Is it like in a garage next to where you park your cars, or like do you have a totally separate space? What does your woodworking situation look like?
Yeah, I should have had you guys go in there so you could video that part, huh?
I know.
So
Next time, I'll do a follow-up.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that sounds great. So it's a 3.5 car garage. So the second car is double deep. And so I take up 3 of the bays and my husband gets to park the car in the last bay. So, but the rest of it is for me now. And prior to this home, I had a 2-car garage, which really was 1 bay because we had the car on the other side. So I was pretty squished in there, which is doable. You can make it work. And I made it work for a long time. And so when we decided to move, I was like, ooh, it's time to upgrade, get a little more space. So I was excited.
That's awesome. I bet. Yeah. I mean, like you said, 7 years ago, this wasn't even on the radar. So you probably didn't imagine 7 years ago you'd have a big dedicated space to woodworking in your home.
Yeah, no, that was no idea, no clue.
Super, super funny. So, well, as we're in here in the kitchen and the living room, I just wanted to ask, like, what is it about? Well, let me back up. What is like the number one spot in your home where you feel like you're the most at home? You know, what's kind of like your happy place in your house?
Besides the shop, right there.
Right here, the living room?
Right here in the living room between the kitchen. This gathering space was one of the reasons we moved. I love open floor plans. I love being able to be around the family all the time, have people lounging, cooking. Like that living space right there is where we spend 90% of our time. And I love that, especially with homeschooling. A lot of my kids are down here on the couch or they're doing homework at the table. And so we spend a lot of time in this room right here.
Huh. That's awesome. I love it. I love the vaulted ceilings in here. They are so cool. They just make the space feel so much bigger and so much light from these huge windows.
Yeah. They are so bright. When we were building this home, the contractor said, "You're going to need sunglasses in this house." I was like, "Yes, you are." That's the point.
That is awesome. You cannot have too much natural light in your house. That is for sure.
No, I was excited about that. I love those vaulted ceilings.
About...
So they are really tall, and those curtains were crazy tricky.
Yeah, those are awesome. Are those something that you ordered? Did you make those curtains? Where did those come from?
I did make those curtains, and there should be a video attached to them on how I did that, and then had a ladder and climbed up and attached those.
Here it is. Very cool. Well, we'll have to link that video in the notes below. But cool. That's cool. I did not check that out. I can't wait to watch that because curtains are very, very expensive. So I'm sure you saved a bunch on figuring out how to do this yourself. That is super cool.
Thanks. It was fun. It was a little scary up there, but it was fun.
So in this living room, what would you say, besides the curtain project, what would you say are like a couple of your favorite items, like a couple of your favorite products in this space that we have tagged here?
Okay, so in this space right here, the rug for sure, that's some boutique rugs, and that is one of my favorites. It's really soft. It has a low pile, which makes it really easy to clean and keep, it's a high traffic area right there with kids and everything. So I absolutely love that rug. And then the couches are another one of my favorites. They're very comfortable, and that kind of corduroy finish on them is really nice fabric or texture. I love that.
Yes. They look so comfy. Microfiber, corduroy, it doesn't get more cozy than that.
Yeah, and they're very easy to clean, so I love that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I didn't think about like the microfiber aspect. I'm sure makes them a lot more durable and easy to clean. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about let's move into your kitchen for a minute. What are some of your favorite items in the kitchen? And yeah, would love to hear a little bit more background on the kitchen. Before the items part, let's hear about this wall back here. Was this wall something that came when you built it, or is this a wallpaper? Let me look closer. Tell me about just kind of the process of designing this kitchen and this wall specifically.
So this wallpaper, it's wallpaper there, and it
Okay.
really pops. And because this is what I wanted in this home, everything was painted white because I kind of
Hmm.
wanted a blank slate to be able to come in. And having all the natural light in here allowed me to go ahead and use a really dark or bold wallpaper here. And it's a really big wall in that space. It takes up. I was actually really nervous when I bought this. I was like, I don't know. But I absolutely love that wallpaper. It completely transformed the space and really tied everything together. And it's from Love versus Design, and it's a textured wallpaper. They have both options, but it's like a fabric texture, so it's got a really cool feel to it as well.
Yeah, I noticed that as I kind of like zoomed in, I was like, there's more detail to this than just a print. It's got some
Yeah,
cool some cool texture to it. And anyways, I love it. I think it's awesome.
thank you. And
The
then were you still
one
asking me
big
about the
project that
kitchen?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, any other items or anything that you love in your kitchen that yeah, that make you just
So
want to be in there?
yeah, my dining table is, I just
Hmm.
built that and I absolutely love the dining table. Got the table legs from Semi Exact and built the top myself. And then the lighting in here is awesome. And then, of course, my butler pantry. That's another one that I really love as well.
Yes. Okay, we can't move on so quickly from the fact that you built this table. So you got the legs from what was the name of the company?
It's called Semi Exact, and they're online,
Semi.
and they're actually a really great company because their whole purpose is to help people who actually don't have experience in building to be able to build things. So everything that they make makes the building process easier. They make like bed legs and side table legs, dining table legs, things like that, so that people can get the legs and make furniture themselves really quickly and really easily. So I grabbed those legs, and then the top is a poplar wood that I put together and built for this space, and I love it.
Very, very cool. I love it. Yeah, that is super
Thank
impressive.
you.
I love the look. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. It's fun.
And let's check out this. Is this the pantry you're talking about that you love?
Yes.
It is awesome. I love that's a really good use of space, having those cornered like walk in and you still have lots of space, lots of I love the idea of having like some counter space in your pantry. I think it's really cool.
So this was just a standard corner pantry, like builder grade pantry. And a few months
Huh?
ago, I ripped it all out and tapped into the power of the switch of the light there and made some extra plugs in there so that I could put all my appliances in the butler pantry, the mini butler pantry, and keep it off my countertop. So I'm
Yes.
really proud of that space. That was really fun.
That is so smart. We are like hurting for counter space in our house, and I'm
Right?
like, what can we get rid of on here? And the fact that
I
you
know.
can like, and most of the time, like, no offense, but like, this is no designer, like, really sexy looking micro or not microwave toaster. Like most of our appliances,
Yeah.
except for this nice KitchenAid you have, like, are not like beautiful appliances.
Beautiful
And
to
so
look
I,
at.
I
Yeah.
I love the idea of like having a really functional space like this butler pantry that like I don't know, it's just genius. I think it's super awesome.
Thank you. It is nice to hide those things away and have a clean space outside. So,
Totally. Okay, the last room that I wanted to highlight that I am obsessed with is this office. First of all, is this your office? Do you spend a lot of time working in here? And yeah, how does this space get utilized?
I wish this was my office. This is my husband's office now that he's working from home.
Uh-huh.
He needed a space really badly, and where we're homeschooling kids, it's kind of loud in the rest of the house. So he needed a space to be able to go in, close the door, do his calls, and handle things.
Mm.
But it was supposed to be my office originally, so there are pops of pink and gold because I had to leave my mark in there. But he picked the wall color and brought his desk chair and everything like that. But
Oops.
it was a really fun space to do. Building the cube shelving helped a lot with storage, and then a little sitting area. Those chairs are my favorite. They're from Amazon, and I absolutely love those 2 pink velvet chairs. They're awesome.
Yes, those are awesome. I love the velvet. And I'm assuming you did this door as well. Did you just get like a standard barn door and then put on the design? How did you do that?
So I actually built this door. So these are 2 pieces of plywood framed out with some 1-bys, and then I put the design on the front and hung the door. So I built that one. That will be a YouTube coming out this year. So I will have a tutorial on that fairly soon. But
Sweet. Can't wait for that. And we will definitely add a tag in there for that video
awesome.
when it's out. And I just think it's really impressive how you like tied in the design above the desk with the door. I don't know. Super cool.
Thank you for noticing that. Like nobody ever notices that.
Yeah, it's really, really thoughtful. It's like you have this, square, I guess, kind of diamond design, the square,
Yeah.
at an angle and on the door, and you open it up and like, I don't know, it's very, very cohesive. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, Brandi, I'd love like any other things that before we exit the house, like any other things to highlight in this office or in the living area or anything.
Let's see. Probably back in the living room, there is a little desk space that
Mhm.
I made using an IKEA hack. The whole thing's made from some IKEA builds. I'm trying to remember. I think I tagged everything. I think I gave you information for that. But that's a good example of one of the IKEA hacks that I've done. And the chair is from Amazon there, which is a really great, comfortable chair. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably it.
That is awesome. Yeah, this is a cool space. I think it's important to have like a little bit of a desk area, still in your living space, because sometimes you have things that you need to get done, but you also want to like feel like you're a part of the action, you're not locked
Yeah.
in your office. And so anyways, I love what you did here. That's really cool. And the video
Thank you.
is tagged right there. So we'll tag that as well, and people can go and watch that after this. But a couple of, I guess, one final question is if I'm someone that is looking to like upgrade a space in my home, or, I just want to like improve my home a little bit. I'm sure you get questions like this all the time and you advise people on this, but like, how does someone get started? What advice do you have for someone that wants to, improve their space a little bit? And yeah.
That's such a tricky question because my best advice is to just do it. I think a lot of times we let the fear of mistakes and imperfections stop us in our tracks, and just know that you are going to make a ton of mistakes, and that's okay. That's a part of the process. And as long as you have that in your mind, that it is not going to go smoothly, you will go back to the hardware store 800 times or to Home Goods or wherever you need to go. And that's a part of the process. So roll with it, give yourself grace, and just have fun with it. I think that's the best advice I can give someone, is to not let yourself be scared and just dive right in and tackle it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think if you accept that it's a process, I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's great advice. Like if you just accept that it's a process, then you'll enjoy the process and you'll enjoy the improvement that comes, not like consistently be disappointed that like it's not reaching your fullest expectations. Like if you just accept that it's a process
Right.
and you're learning and just trying to incrementally improve your space over time, you'll enjoy that process a lot more than thinking, your home needs to go from where it's at now to Architectural Digest right away.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you learn each time. Each time you go through a process and do something new, you learn and you get a little bit better every time. So,
Totally. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time, Brandi. It was a lot of fun chatting. I'm sure we'll be chatting again as you keep transforming your space, adding more DIY projects. So we'll definitely have to do some follow-up tours in the coming months and, revisit your space.
gosh, I'd love that. I just started upstairs. So now you guys will be able to come upstairs. That's the
Yes,
process this
yes.
year. Thank you so much for having me.
To be continued upstairs. That's awesome. Thanks again, Brandi, and we'll be catching up later. Thanks.
I appreciate it.